Forgot to unmute. All right, welcome to Kimchi Robotics. Just checking the sound here. Let me make sure coming through. So we have crappy lighting because shit's not working out, but we're still gonna stream. And I promised a long time ago that I was gonna make this video, and here it is. This is the video. We're just gonna do it with the live stream because it's a lot easier for me to do it. And I also benefit by pushing myself to put this out so that I can learn this stuff better and remember it better. So, one thing I did want to let you all know is there is if you're in the United States and you're on the East Coast, there is a 3D printing, it's called Eastern Rap Festival, whatever, ERRP, I think. It's on the East Coast, and it's taking place near Aberdeen, Maryland. And I signed up for it. I've never been to one, and they haven't had it for like 2 years because of COVID. So going to that, it's like $10. So if you're like on the East Coast and you're anywhere from like New York to down to, Virginia, might as well go. So that's what is going on. Also, there is a maker fair in Philly, though. If you've never been to Philly, if you haven't been to Philly recently, I went to school there, and I got updates every day almost about shootings that were happening in the area. So, not a big fan of going down there, but yeah, it'll be fine. So, yeah, check those out. I think it's like the October 9th and the 15th for each of those. I think the, I can't remember. Anyway, go check out, just do like a Google search for it. I would show you the flyer, but I don't have it with me right now. And I had a lot of technical issues, the lighting, the mic, whatever. I almost knocked down this light. It's a really old style version. It's a piece of shit, and I gotta get like an LED panel. But if I turn it off, you can't even see me. It's dark, and the lamp that I have doesn't work either, so it barely lights up anything. So we're just gonna go ahead and do this. So today, I did want to let you know, I did get stickers ordered. So if you didn't know, I designed my first CAD design, like a real, product, was with FreeCAD, which is a free program that you can download, and you could do Blender. That's great too, but I liked FreeCAD just because of the way it was organized, and it helped me to stay focused on the workbenches a lot easier than Blender did. I am interested I saw some videos about you can design CAD in Blender. Makes sense, you just draw on the grid and then you bring it into 3D space. Pretty cool, right? I do like FreeCAD. I like the constraint system. I like the spreadsheets, although that's a little complicated. It's a kind of intermediate stuff where you put values in the spreadsheets like an Excel table, and then it projects it onto whatever you're designing. And so if you change the values in the table, it'll change, the shape, so to speak. So I did design this holster for the Oculus Quest 2. This is red, obviously. I have them in various colors, and I got the stickers ordered that I'm going to be putting in each order. I'm also going to be putting in an extra retention clip. Okay. By the way, look at that genius design. I know I've covered this in a previous video, so if you're watching this later, pardon me. I got to clean that out. One way to get rid of webbing on a 3D print really easily is you take a lighter and you just light that baby up. It'll get rid of all them spidey webs real quick, so no worries. But yeah, I'll put in an extra retention clip because I'm afraid that people, when they first get it, they won't understand it, and they'll just, they'll pull too hard, and then, they'll just snap it. Anyway, I really like it. It really works, and I have adjustable cant So cant in a holster is the angle that the holster sits at, and this is according to your personal preference. And I have a beveled gear that I put on one side of this, and on the other side I put the negative space of the beveled gear. So I tried to make them fit nicely. I wish I did it a little bit bigger. I think it would be a lot easier if they were bigger, and that might be an updated version. But I'm pretty satisfied with it, and they really work. Let me show you. So you just pop it in, just like that. And the cant is good because if you have it kind of at an angle, it's easier to pull it back. And it also helps when you're bending over. So when you're playing VR, if you've never played VR before, first of all, it's fun. I didn't believe it, and I got one, and I was a believer. It blew my mind away. I don't play so much, though. I'm just busy, you know, doing real life stuff. So, but it is a lot of fun, and it's kind of cool because it, like, you know, you get tired or your headset wears out if you have the wireless version, and it forces you to take a break. So it's great, and you get a little exercise, and it just adds a whole new dynamic to gaming and entertainment. I think that in the future, maybe movies will go in the same route, and we'll be sitting down with something strapped to our face while we watch movies. Who knows? So when you bend over, if you're gonna like pick something up, like in the game, you'll drop something like a weapon or a grenade. You'll want to bend over and pick that up. The problem is if these are straight up and down, and you bend over, they're gonna fall out. First of all, how about that ASMR? Come on. Isn't that cool? I did notice that this design is lacking retention clip that you would see in like a normal holster for like an actual firearm. But it's okay. I mean, it's got good retention right there. You can see. It's not going anywhere. So it still works. It's still got retention. And the PLA, the material that this is made of, that's 3D printed, it's just shiny enough, it's just slippery enough to let it slide right out. I do have another version that I'm already working on, and it's going to be on the shoulders up here, and you can look forward to that fairly soon. I have a fan on me. It's hot as hell. I like summer though. I'm a son of a beach, so. But yeah, they come in a set. I sell them in a set. You can also buy the STL files if you just want to print them yourself. They'll come in a set, one color, and you'll have, both sides. You'll have both sides, the left and the right. This is them for the front. And I'll throw in, I'm thinking 2 stickers. I don't know, maybe 1, maybe 2. I don't know. Depends on the response to it. So that's that. And like I said, you can find it on my website, roboticsforbeginners.com, or you can go to Etsy. Make me famous on Etsy. Come on. I also have donation links if you guys want to support this kind of work. It is a lot of work. I'm a one-man show, so yeah, go ahead and check out those links and send me some love. All right. So without further ado, let's get into the build for today. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on my my other camera here. Let's see if I can get that. Boom! There it is. All right. So now you're looking at my desk. Wonderful. Let me move this stuff out of the way. All right. Get the buds out of the way. Okay. So what we're working with here, this is going to be a short stream, by the way. Don't worry. The longest part is going to be the code explanation, but it's really, I'm going to just keep it bare bones today, and then we'll just learn how to display some text, and then we'll go deeper in the next stream. And I won't take too long of a break in between. I got everything ready for these holsters and whatnot. I just got, you know, a lot of stuff to do, but I do want to make more videos, and I have my ELEGOO Neptune 3 unboxing and review video, my first impressions video, ready to go by Friday, I think. So stay tuned for that. You can get it for $90 off right now. I think I got mine for $90, maybe $100 off. I can't remember, with the first batch, and then I ordered 2 more with the second batch. And I noticed in the U.S. they're all sold out, all the pre-orders for the second batch. So you're gonna have to wait in the U.S. if you didn't take advantage of my link. And I still have a link in the description below of this video for that printer. Just wait until they come in, and if you're in the Australia, Japan, or the UK, you can still pre-order it. You can still get it. So highly recommended. It's got the 16-point leveling system. It's got a metal extruder. It's got a filament detector, so if the filament breaks, it'll know. It's just a great printer, and it's got a magnetic build plate, so you can pull it off and you can bend it so the print pops right off. I don't like to do that. I just wait for it to cool down, and then it goes, and then you just pull it off. You don't have to fight with it. You don't have to use glue because the magnetic build plate it's like rough. It's kind of bumpy, and it gives a little texture on the bottom of your print. Looks really, really nice. So highly recommended. My CR10, that thing is really struggling. I'm gonna do a little audio check real quick. Oops. Let me see if I get some audio. Oh, awesome. Okay, sorry. All right. I don't want to record this and it not have sound. So anyway, yeah, ELEGOO Neptune 3, highly recommended. Great printer, great value. Link in the description below. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. So let me just move myself out of the way. Move myself out of the way here. Where should I go? Here? Yeah? All right, this looks good. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to get too in the way. Let me expand that. All right, sorry for the rough setup, but like I said, lots of technical difficulties today. But I just wanted to get it done. All right, so here is the... Damn it, let me move that out of the way. So here is the SSD1306 OLED display. I'll have a link in the description. You'll notice I don't have a pen. You know what? I'm going to use this. I'm going to use my calipers. Okay? This is my pointing tool tonight. There you go. Yeah. All right, so you'll notice I have the Raspberry Pi Pico right here. All right, great value, $4. Get the wireless version. I hear they have like low battery consumption Bluetooth capabilities built in that they're working on. It hasn't rolled out quite yet, but it's like it's capable. It's going to be ready to do it. You could hook. I think you can hook it up to Wi-Fi right now, and that's like $6 US dollars. That's a great value. So this is going to be my new go-to. I'm not going to do those AVR chips anymore, although I like those. I'm going to use those for my personal builds that I create these, but I'm going to be sticking to these and the Raspberry Pi from now on. Okay, so this is the SSD1306, and the reason I know that is on the back here, you can't see it, but if you look on the back here, it's usually written down like what it is, or it'll be in the like the inked, you know, print stuff down in here. But sometimes it'll be on this ribbon cable thing right here. It'll say 1306. I can't zoom in because, like I said, I can't get anything to work today. It's just one of those days. But you'll notice you can barely see it, but it says VCC. Okay, this is GND, that's ground. So I have a red wire. Okay, don't get confused with the wiring. I used to get really confused with wiring. So we have ground, we have voltage. Now this is gonna hook up to the Raspberry Pico. This is gonna hook up to this Pico's 3.3 volt output. Do not hook this display up to 5 volts. Don't do it. I'm talking to you. Don't do it, okay? I don't want you to ruin it, because these displays are cheap, but they're not that cheap, okay? You don't want to waste money. I've done that a lot. So this goes into 3 volts. Okay, that's all this is. This rail's connected here. And then this goes all the way down back to my Raspberry Pico, and there's the 3.3 volt output. That's where that red wire's connected to. If you look at the chart, the diagram, you'll see that. And then 2 pins away from that, there is a ground on the Pico. So that's what I'm hooking up to. All right. This is not to be confused with the power going into the Pico to power the Pico. You can see I have it hooked up via USB. But if you didn't have USB and you had a different type of setup, the USB cord is providing the data connection to my computer and giving it power. If you don't have that, you would go in on a pin that says like 5 volts, you know, VCC. So the voltage and the current is going through right here from this pin here down in here, okay? And then the ground goes to here on this rail, this blue rail, okay? So you see the ground. Oh man, that's hard to look at that and point at it right there. And then there's the black wire. Oh, I can't do that. That's so hard. It goes to here, okay? So that's ground. So I got voltage, ground. Next, you'll see it says SCL. That's serial clock. That's very important. So the serial clock is how fast it is cycling, how fast it's going to communicate. I believe this is operating at 400,000 hertz. I'll show you that in the code in a minute. And then we have so what we have to do is we have to set up the same frequency, the same, you know, spinning speed, the same clock speed for this display and for our code for our chip on the Pico. So they have to communicate at the same frequency. It's like speaking the same language. That's kind of what that's like. If you are at a different frequency, you know, they're not going to be able to communicate. They're not going to understand the ones and zeros that are being passed back and forth. And then here is serial data. So that's SDA. You'll notice that's all the connections you need. You just need power, right, with the ground wire. And then you just need 2 wires for the actual data to be sent to this display. And the reason for that is this is an I2C connection. Very simple connection developed. Man, what was it developed? Like the 80s or something? Was it by Philips Electronics? I can't even remember. We studied it in an MBA school, but it's all blur, right? So yeah, the I2C connection is incredible. Incredible. Very simple. Just has a clock and a data connection. So the data is coming from this, the Pico. And you'll see I have them connected here. I have a yellow wire. So this is basically pin number 0. So if you, again, I apologize, I can't zoom in, but like I can zoom in, but like, I mean, like, look, come on. It doesn't really help, right? You can kind of see it. Like, I'm using my camera on my phone and it just still sucks. So this says GP0. That's what that says right here. And that's actually this first pin here. So that's going to be pin number 0. We're going to remember that. And then this is pin number 1. And that's going to be, I have a black wire because I had a blue wire and then it broke today. So just ignore it, you know. The colors don't matter. So I have these, remember, on a breadboard, the rails go this way, okay? So these are on the same rail, this black and blue one. So the blue one is the serial clock, so that's going to be on pin number, oops, on pin number 1. And then the yellow one is going to be connected here, right? We have these two, right? These two on the same rail. And that is our data line. So that's what the actual text that we're going to display is going to be sent over this line through here and into that line and into serial data, and it's going to display it on there. It's really crazy how this shit works. It's weird science and freaking magic, okay? That's why I'm also moving to the Pico. I had this hilariously long kind of a hate-love letter from some random dude. I was going to make a video about it, but, you know, whatever. So he wrote this like really long comment. He's like, why are you teaching people how to do, you know, the old style chips? I just like that. I like how tiny they are, and how you could do so much just with the chip. And I didn't like the big Arduino boards that were popular, and the Raspberry Pi board was just overkill and too expensive. So I found those $2 chips and I was like, I'm good. But I do agree with his criticism that you know, why are you showing people how to do the old way? There is you don't have to get like a programmer, you know. You just plug in the USB, and there's a lot more support for the Arduino and the Raspberry boards. So I do agree with that, and I was already planning on moving to these boards anyway. It's just I wish I had built more with the other ones, but I think it was just too small of an audience for that. Programming in C is such a small niche thing, so we're going to be moving on to the Pico and to the actual Raspberry Pi, which I'm very excited because you can do a lot more. You can connect to wireless, and it's all in Micropython and Python, which are very similar. And Python is a great language to learn because you can do a lot with that. Arduino language, not so much. That's all I gotta say. Arduino, you're gonna have to be learning some C++ on top of that Arduino if you really want to do anything. So, just stuff to keep in mind. But anyway, all right. So let's see how it goes. So that's the connections. Okay, that's how that works. You don't really need to see this anymore, right? So I'll just move that to the side, and we'll just focus on the display. Okay. So let me bring up Thonny. Thonny is a IDE, okay? So an IDE is the software that you use to program the board. So first, make sure the USB is plugged in, and then if you don't have Thonny, I'll put a link in the description of the video for you to go and download it, or you can Google it like a big boy. Let me open Thonny first. Yeah. I have a Stream Deck. I was going to use my Stream Deck, but like I said, suddenly half the buttons don't work. So, you know, I opened it up, and actually, I was trying to put in the USB cord or cable, and then the entire USB connector just ripped right off. So I had to resolder that, and then it wasn't working, and whatever. So I opened it up. I'm gonna look at it later. All right, Thonny's up. Now let me show you. It's going to be a window capture. Let's go to Thonny. It's kind of a weird name though, right? There is Thonny, but where am I? Here I am. All right, so here's Thonny. Now, there's some things you need to do, but there are also good things that are going to make you better. Like the guy, his criticism was, you know, why are you doing AVR in C? You know, don't you know how hard that is? You know, there's libraries available for Arduino and Raspberry Pi. You know, why don't you do something more modern? And yeah, I do agree. It's a pain in the ass to do anything on the AVR. I like the AVR for like doing servos and just real simple stuff like that uses low battery. But here we go. So when you get into Thonny, if you don't have it plugged in, it's going to give you an error message down here. Also, you go to Tools, you go to Options, and you need to change your theme to Raspberry Pi Dark, okay? Trust me. And then this is my setup. So I got Gearhead font. I don't know, I thought it looked cool. Editor font is the Unispace. And then syntax theme is Desert Sunset. Whatever. So that's what I got. All right, so change your options. And then, so you'll see here, excuse me. So I have my computer, and you don't really need that. It gives you an option. So every time you download something, it's going to ask you, do you want to download this library to your computer or to the Pico directly? So these are all the things that are on my Pico right now. It has all of these Python programs. So you'll see it ends in a .py. If I didn't put a .py, then it saves it like this as like a basic text file. Okay, so this is I2. See, it doesn't even, I'm just gonna delete that. Okay. All right, so the first thing I did was I downloaded I2C scanner. You need to have this when you have your OLED or anything basically hooked up to the Pico. You need to scan to find that device's address. And somebody already made this. You just copy paste this. If you go on to Google and you search for I2C scanner Python program or something like that, you'll find one. That's where I got this from. I Googled it. So what it does is it's saying pin 0. Remember pin 0? I had it on pin 0, and the serial clock is on pin 1. So make sure your data line and your clock line are set up the right way. If they're not, you're not going to be able to communicate successfully. So what this does is, so you see it's operating at 400,000 hertz. Okay, that's what the frequency is. This is the serial clock is SCL. SCL was defined right here. Okay, that's what. So they wrote SCL and they said, when we write SCL, make it equal to pin 1. When we write SDA, make it equal to pin 0. So this is this is Python, right? This is Python language, not C. So we import this library, this module, they call it, I think. So they import this module machine, and in machine, okay, they have these different assignments and methods, like functions. And so in machine, so in this, like library of code, they have it all mapped out, and they say, if you say machine.pin, then you just type in the pin number that you want, and then it'll understand that you're trying to assign that pin number to equal whatever name you give it. All right, so that's what that is. If you don't do this, that's fine. But when you do the I2C thing here, you would have to type in machine.pin0 right there instead of, SDA equals SDA. So in the I2C, in machine, there's an I2C like submodule or whatever. I don't know what it's called. Give me a break. Okay. And so you say I2C equals, that's mapped out. I2C equals machine.I2C. Okay, so this is mapped out inside of the machine module. Yeah, you can look at the documentation online. So type in, Micropython documentation, and then you type in machine in the search on the website, and it'll bring up this stuff. And if you just look at it, you'll see like, oh, they have I2C. Oh, they have this, that. It's just stuff that people have already made for you. So these are the parameters, okay? So this is the stuff that it's looking for. So we gave it the parameters. I forget what that one is. I don't care. So it needs a data line, and we said the data line is equal to this name that we said, which is the same. We just said, if we said like SDA monkey, or if we just typed in, Yankee Doodles right there, we'd have to type in Yankee Doodles right there. All right, so that's that. So next, it's going to print scan I2C bus, and then they made another object. This is called an object, by the way. So they made an object, and they said, make that equal to I2C.scan whatever's inside of that. So when it scans it, it's going to make this object that they call devices. They're going to make that the whatever was scanned. And then if the length of the devices is exactly equal to 0, then print no I2C device. So if there's nothing there, if the length, of how many devices it counts is exactly 0, it just says there's nothing there. Otherwise, right, else with a colon, it prints out I2C devices found, colon, and then that's the end. So they put that in these like parentheses. Oh, what are those called? Man, I don't remember English, and I taught English for like 10 years. Well, more than that, but anyway, long story. Okay, so, and then it says the length of how many devices it found. Okay, so that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Length, you can think of that as like how many, like the number of. Okay, the length of the how many. Anyway, just for now, just think of it like that. Okay, next, for device in devices. So this is, if you study this on your own, you'll understand it. So these are the terms that we made up here, right? Devices. Yeah, you get it. So for device, so they're making up this name, for device in devices, in whatever is scanned, right? However many are scanned. Print the decimal address text right there. So it's going to give you the address as a decimal. You can type whatever you want right here. Poopy face. It doesn't matter. And it's going to have the device, and then it's going to say hexa address, and then it's going to give the hex address of that device. So let me see if I have this hooked up correctly. So there I go. I just ran it. I just clicked run current script, and it says down here, let me make sure you can see that. Oh, you can't. Let me pull that up. Beep. There it is. Okay. So it says, actually, let me do it again. Let me tell you something. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to click it. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Let's jam. Scan I2C bus. Okay, remember we printed that right there. It's just text. That's it. Print this text. I2C devices found is 1. So I2C devices found, length of devices, 1. All right. And then decimal address, 60. So that's the address. Okay, you're gonna need the address. Kind of like when you go and find somebody, you got to know their address. Otherwise, you're never gonna find them. And then we put that pipe right there just to divide, the text. And this says hexa address. This is the one that you need. So my hex address. What is it? Hexa. Yeah, whatever. So the hex address of my OLED screen, the SSD1306 screen that I have, which is also linked in the description below, is 0x3c. Copy your address. Okay, write it down. All right. Control C. And then you need to go, so you can stop that program and close that out. Doesn't matter. And let me make sure you can see. Okay, so I clicked the stop up here, and now I'm gonna go into manage tools and then manage packages. Let me see if that pops up. Oh, damn it. You know what? I'm gonna have to share my desktop. It's okay. It's okay. I am ready. I will share my desktop with you if you promise not to tell anybody. Okay? All right. Whoa! All right, so let's go into Thonny. So now you can see it. So I went to Tools, Manage Packages. That's where all of that good, juicy library shit is contained in, okay? So all the stuff that you need. Oh, I think there's a bomb in here. Where's that come from? Oh, we'll just ignore it for now. All right, so you go to Manage Packages, and this is where people have already written a bunch of code to make this stuff work. So that's why that guy was giving me that criticism, and I agree. Yeah, it's a lot easier just to do this. And if you're just trying to make stuff, you know, why try and reinvent the wheel? There's people that have different kinds of brains, you know, people on the spectrum maybe. I'm not hating. They just do stuff better than other people, and I'm not one of those people. I'm more of a creative type. I just like to make stuff. I have ideas, and that's why I like the 3D printing stuff. I like to design, and then I make it, you know, and then there it is. You know, that's what I do. Okay, I'm a sculptor. I'm an artist. So what you do, these are all the packages that I've downloaded before. So you go in here and you're going to look for SSD1306. Okay. Search on Pi. And it's probably going to be this first one right here. All right. Yeah. I think this is the one that I used. So anyway, you click that and then it's going to install it. But it's going to ask you if you want to install it. So let me just click on a different one. Okay, so if I click install, oh shit. Oh shit, I just installed it. Whatever. I'm gonna delete it. So it'll ask you like if you want it to be on the Pico or if you want it on your computer. So here it's already, I've already installed it. I don't want to delete it. I'm very superstitious. So let me go into the actual, oh shit, where'd it go? There it is. So here's the libraries here. This is the one right here, SSD1306. Boom, look at all that shit. All right. This is crazy. This is stuff that like, I look at it and I try to understand it, but not for too long because I got shit to do. So they're importing Micropython and constant and frame buff. Okay, so if you just look at the top, it says Micropython SSD1306 OLED driver, I2C and SPI interfaces. This person or these people or whoever did this, they did all this for you. And then they provide this stuff. They provide these methods, I think that's what these are called, to do this kind of work. Okay, just like in C, we have functions. So we have a function, we give it a name, they just give it a random name, and then, you know, they give it a parameter, like something to take into consideration to make it work. And then they have like all this stuff, okay? What we do is we use these methods that are predefined, and then we fill it in with stuff that we need to fill it in with to make it work. And that's it. You don't really have to do a whole lot of work, and that's why these more modern type of boards and stuff are very popular, especially the Arduino. Anyway, so we have these ones that you're going to see. Show. Okay, so what does show do? Show does stuff. It displays with the width of 64 pixels are shifted by 30. Okay, so yeah, there's a bunch of shit in here, okay? Like if you really want to, if you're really bored and lonely, maybe you can spend some time doing that. I've tried for like 5 years and I just don't care anymore. I don't need it. Why would I do it if somebody else is willing to do it? So, all right, there you go. That's it. Okay, so we're going to be tapping into this library. Now, you don't have to open that library, okay? Let's go into my demo. Where is it? Here it is, OLED test. Okay. Actually, let me duplicate this. Save as. Okay, oh, okay. So where to save it to? This computer, Pi Pico. So you can save it to your computer. I just like to save it to the board. The reason you would want to save it to your computer is if your board broke or you lost it, then you'd lose all of that work that you did. So it's probably wise to save it to your computer first. Excuse me. And then to move it to your Pico. But you do you. I'm going to save it to the Pico because I'm dangerous. All right. And I'm just going to say... Merry Christmas. OLED. Okay? But I'm missing one thing. I need to finish it with .py. It's a Python program, Micropython. Micropython is the same as Python. It just has a few other things to make it communicate with the hardware. Save that. Okay, so now it says Merry Christmas OLED.py. So now I can change things. Okay. That was something else. Yeah. I'm gonna keep this down here. Actually, no. I don't want to confuse you. Okay. So here is what I did to show you. Let me turn it on actually. Hold on. I'm still in. Let me, there you go. Okay. That's better. So let me, tell you something. There's my phone, right? So you remember, son of a bitch. Thonny. Oh, man. This is not going the way I planned. Nothing ever does, right? Just gotta adapt. Okay. So watch this. There we go. Isn't it cute? Okay, so I'm in the way. Put it over top of me. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So let's see what happens if I turn this on. Please, God, work. Hey, something worked today, right? Stay positive. Yeah? Okay. So you can see that it clearly says stream tomorrow, September 6th, 7 p.m. It says 6th of September. Jeez, time's flying. Time's flying. Okay, so we have from machine import pin and I2C. So from the machine library, like I said, you can look at the documentation online if you have that time. You can go online and look at what is in machine. In machine, you'll find pin and I2C, and just like that library that we just looked at, it's going to have a bunch of stuff in there that's already made for you that you can use to make things work. And then from SSD1306, that's this library we just downloaded. Do you remember? We just... Let me turn it off. Okay. The library we just downloaded, this one right here, SSD1306. We're including it by typing from SSD1306. We're going to import SSD1306 I2C. So remember we looked at that? We looked at that specific, it's importing that specific method. It's like a blueprint. And the blueprint has a bunch of stuff in it. And so it's going to say, hey, we need all that to make this work. That's where the real magic is. Okay, and then we're also going to import time, but no, not really. We don't really need that. Bye-bye. Okay, so we're going to make an object. We'll call it I2C. I think you have to. In this library, I think it makes you do that. Anyway, just call it I2C. And then we're going to say, we're going to use the method that was in this library, and it's already made, I2C. and then parentheses, and then the parameters we need to set are like this, okay? In pin, it outlines this right here. Okay, so we're saying, you know, pin 0, the one that I have the data hooked up to, pin 0 is a data pin. It sends out data. And pin 1 is a serial clock. So if you look at the Pico schematic, pin 1 is a serial clock pin, and data pin is pin 0. Man, English is hard. Okay, don't worry, I'm almost done. Okay, so the frequency is 400,000 hertz. So that's 400,000 ticks per second, I believe. Fast. Okay, so that sets up the communication for I2C. All right, next, OLED. So we're making an object called OLED, just to make it simple. You can call it whatever you want, I believe. Yeah, I think. So we're saying this object is going to be this. So remember in that SSD1306 library, it had this. Do you remember this? I do. Where is it? SSD1306. Which one was it? It was... yeah, SSD1306 underscore I2C, and it has these parameters. SSD1306 I2C right there. And then the parameter. Okay. So the parameters. Width, height, I2C is the protocol. The address. This is what you have to change. This, I forgot. Okay, so remember I control-C'd the address? This is where I pasted it right here. You have to put in your address there. If you don't, nobody's going to show up to your house. You're going to be sad. Okay? So put in your address of your device right there. All right? Phew. Okay, so let's go back. So this is the parameters that it's asking for, okay? It's asking for all this stuff. The ones we have to focus on are 128, 64, and I2C. So what is that? That's the width, okay? It's 124 pixels wide. The height of our screen is 64 pixels, right? Look at it. Do you see? It's 128 pixels wide and 64 pixels tall. Yeah, so pretty cool. That's all that is. That's all it is. Okay, and then the communication protocol is the I2C protocol. Don't worry about it. You just got to write it like that. And then you can actually start typing in what you want it to display. So while it's on, while true, OLED.text. So this object that's on this, it's going to display like this. In that object, we're going to write a text, and the text is in parentheses. Stream tomorrow. Okay. Oh, did I write a 6? Let me delete that. I think I did, but it's like not on the screen because it got bumped off. So anything in red is going to be, you know, text. Actually, let me delete tomorrow so you can see the difference. Okay, and then the position that it starts at is going to be this many down and this many over. So from the top right or the top left of the screen, it's going to be 2 pixels over. Does that make sense? And then it's going to be 2 pixels down. So that's where it starts, this text. So that S is going to be in that position. And everything else is going to follow after it, left to right. Okay, and then we want to bump down, you know, another level, another line. And then we're going to do it again, another text. And we're going to say September 6th. Let's say stream canceled. Can't spell. And then we're going to put that 2 pixels over and 20 pixels down. We're going to give ourselves some space. And then we're going to do one more text. And we're going to say, sorry, not sorry. So I have it 40. Whoops. I forgot the that stuff. So we have 40 pixels over and then 40 pixels down. The only problem is when I display this, you're going to see what the problem is, right? I bet you can guess what the problem's going to be with this already. All right. And then to get it to actually show, we have OLED.show. That function, that method is in this library. I couldn't figure it out before. It's in here. Okay, it's right here. And then it starts with, displays with width of 64 pixels or shifted by 32. Yeah, so anyway, this is the show thing. Okay. So that's it. And then I'm going to click run current script. Now look at the screen. 3, 2, 1. Let's jam. Changed. What does it say? Stream canceled. Sorry, not so. Okay, so I had it too far over. So if I just say 1 pixel, it fits. You got an apology. There you go. Stream looks kind of wonky, so let's push it over, Let's push it over 20. Yeah, it looks all right. Although it could be better. There you go. That looks pretty good. So 30 is about the middle for that word. Let's do 27 for canceled. All right. A little too far over, so we'll bump it back to 24 pixels. All right, yeah, it's good enough. So that is how that works. The reason why I have yellow at the top is because this display is permanently divided into a yellow bar at the top and blue for the rest of the screen. That's just the way it came. That's the way I wanted it. You can get one that's just, all white or all blue or whatever, green. I'm looking for a red one. If you find a red one, please let me know. I really need a red OLED display, but I'm thinking I'm going to have to get an LCD, but whatever. I don't really need that right now. So that is that. That is how you display text on your Pico. Okay, so that's all it is. Don't get confused with the wiring. It looks confusing, but it's not. It's really simple. All I have is a serial line, or I have a data line, the yellow one, connected to my data pin on the Pico. I have my clock line connected to a clock pin, and then I have my 3.3 volts voltage on the VCC pin and the ground on the ground pin. That's it. Okay, so this is what I'm going to be working with in the future, and I do want to do this again very soon, and I believe I will show you how to do a scrolling image or scrolling text. It's a little more involved, so I think that's it for now. That's all I'm going to do. Again, check out all the links in the description. The ELEGOO Neptune 3. I have 3 of them, okay? I have a Creality CR10 V3. It's a piece of shit. Somebody made a dumbass comment and said, oh, why don't you get the CR Touch, or the whatever they call it now. It was a BL Touch, now it's the CR Touch or whatever. People are still complaining that it's not good enough. It doesn't help. The printer, the way it is, I think with the 2 Z-axis, it's a budget printer. It feels budget. When I first got it, it felt budget, even though I paid. It's expensive. Okay, it's not worth the money. You can do better with a smaller printer. And then if you have a helmet, just divide it. It's a lot easier. I wasted a lot of time and money trying to get that one to work. And I had to do a lot of repairs. And if you haven't seen my video, I just took it apart and put it all back together. Check it out. I almost threw it in the garbage. I'm still going to, keep it around, but it is pissing me off. It is always off level on one side. It's one corner specifically, and it's a well-documented problem. So yeah, check out the ELEGOO series, the Neptune 3. If it's out of stock, just wait for it to come back in stock. It's worth the wait. Also check out my VR holsters. Okay, I'm going to be selling them, the physical printed versions, because I think not everybody is interested in printing it themselves, because you do have to purchase this socket cap head screw. I mean, it's not rocket science, but a lot of people, that might be a little intimidating for them. And then I'll be including the stickers, and they're going to be holographic, I believe. Maybe one of them's glitter. Yeah, so I'll just be throwing in random stickers in those packs, and we'll see how it goes. And I do have an unboxing video of the Neptune 3 with my first impressions and my tips for beginners of that printer. There are a few quirks to every machine. There are a few quirks to the Neptune 3, but they're not terrible. They're very tiny, and a lot of them were, or not a lot of them, but the very specific problem that I had was fixed with the last firmware update. So anyway, I hope you all are doing well. I hope this was kind of, I hope it was informative. I hope it was helpful, and I hope that you can understand this if this is something that you want to understand. I am much more interested now in, designing 3D prints, but I do want to eventually combine the two. You take the electronics and you take the 3D print, you put them together, all right, and you get a pizza pie or whatever. I don't know what else to say about that, but stay grounded, stay positive, never give up. Take a break, take a walk, go outside, be happy to be alive, and I'll see you very, very soon. Take care.